Good morning, students. How are you all? I hope all of you are fine and doing well and also studying your lessons well. Today, we're going to begin with lesson number 4, A Question of Trust, written by Victor Canning. Now, this story is about a man named Horace Danby who is 50 years old and everyone around him thinks he's a good and honest man. He used to build locks and used to earn enough profit so he could hire two servants to help him. He was sent to jail once about 15 years ago because he used to commit robberies every year. This year, when he goes to a house for robbery, he meets a woman who pretends to be the owner of the house. Later on, he leaves from there and is arrested. He comes to know the truth about that lady. So, we will see. Let us first learn more about the author, Victor Canning. Victor Canning was born on 16th of June 1911 and passed away on the 21st of February 1986. He was a prolific British writer of novels. That means he wrote marvelously. He wrote many novels and thrillers who flourished in the 1950s, 1960s, and 70s. He was personally very reticent. That means he was not a person given to much talking. And he wrote no memoirs, means wrote nothing about his life, and gave relatively very few newspaper interviews. Now, let us read the lesson and see the story ahead. It is said that you must set a thief to catch a thief, but it is also said that there is honor among thieves. Which of these sayings does this story illustrate? So we will find out for ourselves. Okay, let's begin with the reading. Everyone thought that Horace Danby was a good, honest citizen. He was about 50 years old and unmarried, and he lived with a housekeeper who worried over his health. In fact, he was usually very well and happy except for attacks of hay fever in summer. He made locks and was successful enough to have two helpers. Yes, Horace Danby was good and respectable, but not completely honest. 15 years ago, he had served his first and only sentence in a prison library. He loved rare and expensive books, so he robbed a safe every year. Each year, he planned carefully just what he would do, stole enough to last for 12 months, and secretly bought the books he loved through an agent. Now, walking in the bright July sunshine, he felt sure that this year's robbery was going to be as successful as all the others. For 2 weeks, he had been studying the house at Shotover Grange, looking at its rooms, its electric wiring, its paths, and its garden. This afternoon, the two servants who remained in the Grange while the family was in London had gone to the movies. Horace saw them go, and he felt happy in spite of a little tickle of hay fever in his nose. He came out from behind the garden wall, his tools carefully packed in a bag on his back. So, here as we can see, by the looks of it, Horace Danby seemed to be a very good and honest citizen. But first of all, let us see the new words in this lesson. Citizen is a highly legally recognized subject or national of a state or a commonwealth. Then, housekeeper means a person who is given the job to manage a household. And hay fever is an allergy that is caused by pollen grains or dust in which the mucous membrane of the eyes and the nose are inflamed, causing a runny nose and watery eyes. Then, sentence is the punishment given to a person who is found guilty by the court and given fixed by law for a particular offense. Then, safe is a strong fireproof cabinet with a complex lock used to store valuable things. And grange is a country house with farm buildings attached. So, we've seen all these new words. Now, let us get to the explanation of the lesson. Now, everyone thought that Horace Danby was a good and honest citizen. He was around 50 years old, unmarried, so he had no wife, but he had employed a housekeeper to look after the house. And he normally had very good health except for summer when he had attacks of hay fever. And his occupation was to make locks, and he was quite successful at his business, so much so that he had two helpers. Yes, by the looks of all people, he was good and respectable. but he was not completely honest. 15 years ago, he had served his first and only, that means only once had he been sent to jail, and that too in a prison library. So he got to love rare and expensive books. He robbed a safe every year. Now, what was the reason? He robbed enough, sufficient money that would last him the whole year, and also, give him enough money to buy expensive and rare books. So, now that the year was over, he was planning his next robbery. And so, he was studying a house at Shotover Grange. And he looked at that house from every aspect, from its wiring, its paths, its garden, and who all were working in the house, when the family was there, when the family went out. So he noticed that all the family had gone to London. There was no one there except for the servants. So, and those servants had gone to the movies. So he had a clear way. And so that was the moment he was waiting for. And so he took his tools and he entered from behind the garden wall. Now let us read further. There he found out that there were about 15,000 pounds worth of jewels in the safe. And if he sold them one by one, he thought he would get at least 5,000. And that would be enough to last him one whole year and also buy 3 books that were coming up for sale in the autumn. Now, pounds is the currency of the UK, and autumn is the season after summer and before winter. So he wanted to get the money in order to buy those books. Now, he had seen the housekeeper hang the key to the kitchen door on a hook outside, and he put on a pair of gloves, took the key, and opened the door. He was always careful not to leave any fingerprints. A small dog was lying in the kitchen. It stirred, made a noise, and moved its tail in a friendly way. All right, Sherry, Horace said as he passed. All you had to do to keep dogs quiet was to call them by their right names and show them love. The safe was in the drawing room behind a rather poor painting. Horace wondered for a moment whether he should collect pictures instead of books, but they took up too much room. In a small house, books were better, and there was a great bowl of flowers on the table, and Horace felt his nose tickle. He gave a little sneeze and then put down his bag. He carefully arranged his tools. He had 4 hours before the servants returned. The safe was not going to be hard to open after all. He had lived with locks and safes all his life, and the burglar alarm was poorly built. So, first, let us go back to the new words. Autumn, we already saw that. Then, stirred. Stirred means to move or cause to move slightly. Then, tickle. Tickle is something that, causes a funny sensation that makes you laugh. Then, sneeze. Sneeze is an involuntary expulsion of air from the nose and mouth due to irritation of one's nostrils. And burglar is a person who commits a theft. So here, after he saw that the servants had left for the movies, he decided to make an entry into the house, and he came there. He looked at everything, he took the key, opened the door, and got inside and went to the drawing room. And there he saw that there was a very, shabby painting, and behind that was the safe. So he decided, he laid out all his tools there on the table, and then he went to rob the safe. Just at that moment, there was a bowl of flowers, and that caused him to start sneezing. So he began sneezing, and then he arranged his tools, and he knew that he had 4 hours before the servants returned. So let us continue reading further. The safe was not going to be hard to open because he had had a lot of experience, with opening safes and things like that. So uh, he decided to cut the wire of the burglar alarm. Otherwise, people would be notified that there was a burglar. So he came back there and began sneezing. And he thought how foolish people are when they have valuable things. He thought there was a magazine article describing this house and giving a plan of all the rooms and a picture. And the owner was so proud of his house that he even mentioned that the painting hid a safe behind it. But he found that the flowers were stopping him in his work, hindering him. He buried his face in his handkerchief and was sneezing. Then he heard a voice say from the door, "What is it? A cold or hay fever?" And before he could even think of who was talking, he answered, "Hay fever," and found himself sneezing once again. The voice went on, "You can cure it with a special treatment, if you find out just what plant gives you the disease. I think you'd better see a doctor if you're serious about your work. I heard you from the top of the house just now." So while Horace Danby was arranging his tools, okay, hindering is stopping somebody from doing something. So over here we see that as he was getting ready to open the safe, he found that the flowers were causing him to sneeze over and over again. And then suddenly, as he was sneezing, he heard somebody ask, "What is it? A cold or hay fever?" And he answered, "Hay fever." And the person then told him in reply, said that he could get it cured if he knew which plant caused this sneezing. And then they say that is, if you want to continue doing your work, if you're serious about your work, then you better get treated. Otherwise, anyone can hear you right from the top of the house. So, now who was this person talking and who's the real culprit in the story? Let us find out. So, it was a quiet, kindly voice, but one with firmness in it. A woman was standing in the doorway, and Sherry was rubbing against her. She was young, quite pretty, and dressed in red. She walked to the fireplace and straightened the ornaments there. "Down, Sherry," she said. "Anyone would think I'd been away for a month." She smiled at Horace and went on. "However, I came back just in time, though I didn't expect to meet a burglar." Horace Horace had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. He might avoid trouble if he treated her the right way, he replied. "I didn't expect to meet one of the family." She nodded. "I see. What an inconvenience it is for you to meet me. What are you going to do?" Horace said, "My first thought was to run. Of course, you could do that. But I would telephone the police and tell them all about you. They'd get you at once." So, children, let us see the first new word in this part of the story. Doorway means an entrance to a room or a building through a door. And the next one is ornaments. Now here ornaments means small little trinkets that make the room look better. It could be small little, it could be a vase, a figurine, or certain things like that. And the meaning of the word amused is to find something funny or entertaining. So, while Horace Danby was getting ready to open the safe, he began sneezing and somebody asked him a question and he answered it without realizing there was someone else in the house. And when he saw who it was, he realized that there was a lady there and he felt a little concerned and worried. He thought of running, but then that lady spoke to him quite kindly. So, so he stood there and answered her. And at that time, he saw that the dog was rubbing Sherry, the dog was rubbing against her. She was young and quite pretty and dressed in red clothes. And she walked there. So she said, "Oh, I didn't expect to meet a burglar, a robber here." But Horace had some hope because she was quite amused. And then he said, he thought that he would avoid trouble if he treated her in the right way. He said he didn't expect to meet any of the family members. And she, in a very ironical way said, "Oh, I see. It's an inconvenience for you to meet me. So what are you going to do about it?" He said, "Oh, my first thought was to run." And she said, "But if you decide to run, then I'll telephone the police and they will catch you quickly." Now, let us continue reading further. Horace said, "I would, of course, cut the telephone wires first and then." He hesitated, a smile on his face. "I would make sure that you could do nothing for some time. A few hours would be enough." She looked at him seriously. "You'd hurt me?" Horace paused and then said, "I think I was trying to frighten you when I said that." "You didn't frighten me," Horace suggested. "It would be nice if you would forget you ever saw me. Let me go." The voice was suddenly sharp. "Why should I? You were going to rob me. If I let you go, you'll only rob someone else. Society must be protected from men like you." Horace smiled. I'm not a man who threatens society. I steal only from those who have a lot of money. I steal for a very good reason, and I hate the thought of prison. She laughed and he begged, thinking that he had persuaded her. Look, I have no right to ask you for anything, but I'm desperate. Let me go, and I promise never to do this kind of thing again. I really mean it. She was silent, watching him closely. Then she said, You are really afraid of going to prison, aren't you? So, here, the meaning of the word hesitated is to pause with indecision before saying or doing something. Then frighten is to make someone feel anxious or afraid. And the meaning of the word persuaded is to make someone change their mind through reasoning or argument. So, what was Horace Danby doing when he realized that somebody else was there in the house besides him? First, he was worried. Then he thought he would be able to coax this lady not to hand him over to the police. And so, he said that please, if he said that she said that if you decide to run away, I'll call the police. He said no, but I wouldn't allow you to do that. I would cut off the telephone wires, and then I would make sure you would do nothing till I get away. And then she asked him in a reply that you would you hurt me? Then he said no, I was just trying to frighten you. At that, she said, but you didn't, she said that he had not frightened her at all. So he said, it would be nice if you forget you ever saw me. She said, why should I? You, after all, you were out to steal and you were out to rob me. So society must be protected from people like you. Whereas Horace said that I'm not a man who threatens society. I only steal from very rich people, those who have a lot of money. And so she laughed, and he says, I have no right to ask you for anything, but please do not hand me over to the police. And I promise you that I will never ever, steal again. To which she says that she realizes that he is really afraid of going to jail, going to prison. So, let us continue reading, children. She came over to him, shaking her head. I have always liked the wrong kind of people. She picked up a silver box from the table and took a cigarette from it. Horace, eager to please her and seeing that she might help him, took off his gloves and gave her his cigarette lighter. You let me go? He held the lighter towards her. Yes, but only if you'll do something for me. Anything you say. Before we left for London, I promised my husband to take my jewels to our bank, but I left them here in the safe. I want to wear them to a party tonight, so I came down to get them, but Horace smiled. Oh, you've forgotten the numbers to open the safe, haven't you? Yes, replied the young lady. Just leave it to me and you'll have them within an hour. But I'll have to break your safe. Don't worry about that. My husband won't be here for a month and I'll have the safe mended by that time. So, as Horace was trying to coax that lady not to, hand him over to the police. So, the first word here is jewels. Jewels are precious stones, ornaments having precious stones in them, and mended is repair. So, like he was trying to coax her not to give him up to the police, and then she wanted to smoke a cigarette, so he hands over his lighter to her, and then she says that yes, I will not tell the police about you, but you have to do something for me, and he is ready to do anything. She tells him that she has kept her jewels in the safe and now has forgotten the combination to open that safe. So Horace says, no problem, I will open that safe within an hour, but I'll have to break it open. She says, no problem, my husband will come only after a month, and in the meantime, I will have it repaired. Mended is repaired. So, and within an hour, Horace had opened the safe, given her the jewels, and gone happily away. For 2 days he kept his promise to the kind young lady. On the morning of the third day, however, the thought of the books he wanted, and he knew he would have to look for another safe. But he never got the chance to begin his plan. By noon, a policeman had arrested him for the jewel robbery at Shotover Grange. His fingerprints, for he had opened the safe without gloves, were all over the room, and no one believed him when he said that the wife of the owner of the house had asked him to open the safe for her. The wife herself, a grey-haired, sharp-tongued woman of 60, said the story was nonsense. So here, as we can see, children, Horace Danby thought he had done the owner of that house a good, like he had done a good deed by breaking open the safe and giving her the jewels. And then he came home and very happily for 2 3 days he thought he kept his promise to that lady and that he wouldn't steal again. But as he was planning another robbery, a policeman came and arrested him for the robbery that had taken place at Shotover Grange. And when he asked how did they come here and catch him, they told him that his fingerprints were all over the safe. He had committed the robbery without wearing gloves. But then he said that he had only done it because the owner's wife had asked him to rob the safe. And then the real owner's wife said that was nonsense. What rubbish. She had never asked him to open the safe. And when he saw that the owner's wife was a grey haired, sharp tongued woman of 60, and then he realized that the person who had asked him to open the safe was not the real owner of the owner's wife. Forrest so is now the assistant librarian in the prison. He often thinks of the charming, clever young lady who was in the same profession as him and who had tricked him. He gets very angry when anyone talks about honor among thieves. Okay, so children, here we see that in the end, Horace comes to know that he has been duped by another thief, by another robber. And then he realizes that there is indeed no honor among thieves. That you need, to rob a thief, you need another thief. So let us look at the question answers of this lesson. What do we learn from this lesson? It is a matter of trust, but whom do you place your trust in? That is very, very important. You need to know exactly whom you are putting your trust in. You can't just trust anybody without knowing them. So here Horace Danby put his trust in a total stranger, and that stranger turned out to be somebody who was just like him, a thief and a robber, a burglar, and therefore the matter of trust was he was let down by putting his trust in the wrong person. So, did you begin to suspect before the end of the story that the lady was not the person Horace Danby took her to be? If so, at what point did you realize this and how? Well, one does begin to suspect the woman is not who she claims to be. She was very calm on seeing Horace. She didn't shout, she didn't scream, and she didn't raise an alarm. She didn't even call the police and also asked him to open the locker for her, even if it meant breaking it, as she had forgotten the code of the safe. It is very unusual that somebody forgets the password of their own locker. Then, what are the subtle ways? Here, B is silent in this word. Subtle ways in which the lady manages to deceive Horace Danby into thinking she is the lady of the house. Why doesn't Horace suspect that something is wrong? Well, the way she walks up to the doorway, starts talking to him, arranges the ornaments in the right place, picks up the silver cigarette box with such a lot of confidence, can make anyone believe that she is the lady of the house. Apart from that, Horace became nervous and frightened when he saw the woman there, and due to that, he was not able to think properly. Then, Horace Danby was a meticulous, Horace Danby was good and respectable, but not completely honest. Why do you think this description is very apt for Horace? Why can't he be categorized as a typical thief? Well, Horace Danby was good and respectable, but not honest. This is the right description for Horace because the place, uh, because he, committed only one robbery a year. He planned only one robbery and he was, satisfied with what he had robbed. He was not keen on just making money for the sake of making money. He planned everything carefully. He was very satisfied with just one robbery, and then he lived very comfortably. And he made sure he had enough money to buy books because he loved like rare books. So he's not the typical thief, because a typical thief would be like, looking forward to, after stealing one, they would be looking forward to making more and more money. So here Horace Danby committed only one crime in order to get by, and that year. Then, Horace Danby, the fourth question. Horace Danby was a meticulous planner, but still he faltered. Where did he go wrong and why? Now, he was a meticulous planner means he spent many days planning the whole burglary or the robbery. He studied the house, studied the occupants of the house, studied each and every room, the people who were working there, and everything. But the place where he went wrong was he did not gather enough information about the real occupants of the house. He gathered information uh, about the wiring, about the garden, about the servants, and even the dog's name. But he forgot to find out details about the owners of the house. He even took the information regarding the valuables inside the safe, how much they were worth. But once he got into a problem, he could not think properly, and he carelessly opened the safe without wearing gloves and touched many things in the room. Therefore, his fingerprints were all over the place. Do you think Horace Danby was unfairly punished, or that he deserved what he got? Well, I feel that he was not unfairly punished. He deserved what he got, because every year he kept on stealing, from one person or the other. Now, no one has a right to steal from others even if they are rich. So, he was duly punished for his crime that he had committed. And do intentions justify actions? Would you, like Horace Danby, do something wrong if you thought that your ends justified the means? Do you think there are situations in which it is excusable to act less than honestly? No. Good intentions do not justify bad actions. So, like Horace Danby, we cannot say that, it's not a problem, that no problem if I rob the just one robbery a year, because I'm robbing very rich people, they have a lot of money. No, that money belongs to them, it does not belong to just any Tom, Dick and Harry. So we cannot take things from people thinking that they have a lot of money. It is not excusable. The right way would be to earn your living in an honest way, not to steal from someone. That would be very dishonest. So here, in a matter of trusting the wrong person, Horace Danby really got into trouble. So, suggested readings are The Unexpected by Ella Etkin, The Confession by Anton Chekhov, and A Case for the Defense by Graham Greene. So, all these are good books for you to read if you can lay your hands on them. So, thank you, children, and have a nice day. Make sure you write the question answers in your fair book.